All right, so today we're going to dive into a really fascinating story of corporate strategy. It's one of those classic cases where a company makes this huge miscalculation. They totally dismiss a market, only to find out it's actually their single biggest opportunity. It's pretty wild. So I want you to imagine this for a second. Your team, right? They've done all the work, a deep analysis of every potential market out there, and they come back with a ranking. And one of them? It's ranked a distant seventh. I mean, basically, don't even bother. But what if? What if that entire ranking was built on a fundamental mistake? And that mistake was hiding, you guessed it, your biggest shot at growth. So this quote right here, this is the faulty thinking that led to that low ranking. The team was convinced that, in a warehouse or a factory, all a worker needs is simple data lookup. You scan a box, you get a number back. Super simple. They thought a conversational AI, a chatbot, was just overkill, a total solution in search of a problem. Turns out they were dead wrong. And that really brings us to the heart of the matter, a massive strategic miscalculation. We're not talking about a small error in the spreadsheets here. This was a complete misunderstanding of who the user was, what their problem was, and, well, the entire competitive landscape. Okay, and this slide just lays out the mistake so clearly. They were picturing a warehouse worker with a scanner, but the real user, the person they should have been focused on, it was a technician on the factory floor. And they weren't just looking up simple data. They were trying to find super complex knowledge because a critical multi-million-dollar machine just died. The stakes, yeah, they're just a little bit different. So, if they got the user completely wrong, what else did they miss? Well, they also totally misunderstood what their technology was even competing against. See, this wasn't about replacing one piece of tech with another. No. The real competitor was something way more basic and, frankly, a whole lot worse. Yep, you heard that right. The true enemy, the thing causing all the delays, the errors, and these massive costs on the factory floor, was the humble and usually ancient three-ring binder full of standard operating procedures. This, right here, perfectly illustrates the huge shift in thinking. The initial, totally flawed view was this scanner versus chatbot debate. But the reality, the new solution offers a scan and talk experience that's actually competing with a walk all the way across the factory and frantically search through a binder process. One is instant and accurate. The other is slow, frustrating, and just begging for an error to happen. All right, let's keep going, because to really get why this opportunity is so huge, you have to understand the crisis that's happening on factory floors right now. It's basically a perfect storm of demographics and a massive loss of knowledge. They call it the silver tsunami. You've got the most experienced generation of manufacturing workers all retiring in huge numbers. And when they walk out that door for the last time, decades of unwritten tribal knowledge, how to actually run and fix the machines, it just walks out with them. It is a catastrophic brain drain.
And the scale of this problem is just staggering. The Manufacturing Institute projects that this skills gap is going to lead to 2.1 million unfilled manufacturing jobs by 2030. Think about that. They have the jobs, but they just don't have the experienced people to fill them.
And this is what happens. A less experienced tech is staring at a machine that's down. Their only guide is that old paper binder. They waste 15 critical minutes just searching. And maybe they miss one key step, and a simple fix turns into a major, costly breakdown. This isn't some theory. It's happening every single day. So here's the crucial point. Paper isn't just a minor hassle. It's a systemic failure. It's wildly inefficient. The information is basically inaccessible when you need it most. Using outdated versions is flat out dangerous, and it all leads to incredibly expensive delays and rework. This is the real villain of our story. Okay, so we've got a massive problem and a truly terrible existing solution. This creates what the source material calls the simplicity gap, and that gap is exactly where the opportunity lives. This chart is fantastic. On one side, you have simple, but let's be honest, dumb solutions like the binder. On the other, you have these powerful but incredibly complex and expensive solutions like industrial AR glasses. Manufacturers are basically trapped between those two bad options. But look at that top right quadrant. High simplicity and high interactivity. That's the sweet spot, and it's been totally empty until now. So this is the new category. It's not about chatbots or looking up data. It's Conversational Operations. It's an AI agent that acts as the missing link, that simple voice interface between a human worker and the complex systems and knowledge they need to do their job right at that exact moment. Now, to win a market like this, you can't just show up with cool tech. You have to solve real, painful, expensive problems for the people who actually write the checks. So let's take a look at who they are. First up, you've got the VP of Operations, or the plant manager. This is the person responsible for, well, everything: output, cost, quality, the entire workforce. They live and breathe efficiency. And these metrics you see here, this is what defines their success. OEE is like the gold standard for plant performance, but just as critical are how fast a new hire can actually become productive and how much product gets wasted. These are their biggest headaches, guaranteed. And here's the pitch. It speaks directly to that pain. It's not about AI. It's about getting new hires productive from day one, slashing training time, and making the entire operation more efficient. You're not selling tech, you're selling a solution to their biggest KPI problem. All right, next up, the director of maintenance. This person has one mortal enemy in life: unplanned downtime. Their entire world, every single day, revolves around keeping the machines running. Their number one metric is mean time to repair, or MTTR. And this pitch, it is laser focused. A huge chunk of repair time isn't wrench time, it's search time. All that time wasted finding the right manual. The promise here is so simple and so powerful. We turn that 15-minute binder search into a 15-second voice command. For a maintenance department, that is an absolute game changer. Okay, so the opportunity is massive, the problem is urgent, and the solution speaks directly to the buyers. But how do you actually get into these factories and win the market? Well, the strategy is just as brilliant as the market analysis. It's a classic two-step land and expand playbook, and it's perfect here. You don't start by talking about some huge, complex, expensive integration project. Nope, you start small. You land by just saying, hey, give me your 10 most used PDFs. In minutes, you've solved an immediate pain point. Then, once you've proven the value and you have the data to back it up, you expand to a full, high-margin enterprise deal. So smart. And this slide just perfectly summarizes why this strategy is a winner. Against these complex connected worker platforms, they win on radical simplicity and speed. We're talking value in under 60 seconds. And against expensive industrial AR, they win on cost, delivering 80% of the value for zero hardware cost, because they just use the phone that's already in every single technician's pocket. So this is where we end up. This whole incredible story pivots on one crucial insight. The initial mistake was applying a consumer B2C lens to a deeply industrial problem. But the second you stop seeing a chatbot and start seeing a solution to a generational skills crisis, a seventh-ranked market suddenly becomes your number one opportunity. And that is a powerful lesson that goes far beyond any single company.